Welcome, everybody, to Week 7 of the Vainglory Invitational Series, sponsored by Mob Crush and the Band application. My name is Dragonborn, and join me tonight are Tasty Bacon and Cyber Owl, our shoutcasters for this evening. Tonight's matchup is between two teams looking to make a name for themselves this week. One team trying to get out of the bottom ranks, while another trying to stay in the fight for the playoff spots. There's only 9 more games left for this season, and every game matters more than ever. Tasty Bacon and Cyber Owl, how do you guys see tonight's game unfolding?
Well, just going off of recent trends, I think I see this one going pretty heavily towards the side of Team SoloMid. I mean, looking at not even just previous weeks of VIS, but also previous events that happened, Team SoloMid, they're coming off a huge high after taking down Team Secret in the champion versus champion Battle of the Atlantic. A grueling series, a best of 7 that took 6 games to determine a winner, but Team SoloMid did come out on top of that. That's got to be huge momentum for them coming into Week 7 of VIS.
Oh, definitely. And with the NA versus EU games, one thing that we definitely saw was the fact that TSM have really adapted well to the current patch and know how to take games so late and pick up the wins. Yeah, they've been able to do that in the past, but they've been struggling a little bit through VIS to actually get those late game victories every now and again. But now that we see them really coming in their own and just showing off how good they are as players, I really expect them to take every scene by storm, at least the ones that we all keep track of, which would be VGL and VIS.
Yeah, they are just coming fresh off, in terms of VIS, they're coming fresh off of a loss to Nemesis. But again, Nemesis has been rising constantly throughout the last few weeks. And again, that victory in the Battle of the Atlantic had to have done wonders for the Team SoloMid's confidence. The thing they have to worry about is not getting too complacent. Gankstars is a team that they've been on a bit of a skid here in VIS. They did have a win, their last win coming, I believe, back in Week 3. So they've dropped 3 matches in a row, all 3 of them being 2-0. However, they're a team that has always stuck around, no matter what situations have happened. I mean, they've previously had teams not be with their roster over in Korea, but going all the way back to the autumn season, and they still had teams at the autumn championships. In the winter championships, they had to deal with losing one of their superstar players in Cole the Meek to now arguably one of their larger rivals in Team SoloMid, and they still got the team into the live championships. And now, unfortunately, for the spring championships, they don't have a team at the spring championships, but it's because they once again have a team over in Korea competing on the international stage and currently undefeated over in Korea. So they are an organization that they know how to grow their talent. And so even though they are playing with a roster that may not be their top players within the organization, they're still a team that you have to be careful of, because they, Excelsior, Haboni, Zyno, Mac Daddy B, even Pompa Ukrainian, one of the owners of Gankstars, they have those resources available to them. They can talk with Iraqi Zoro. They can get tips and advice from Iraqi Zoro, from Fuji, from Rect. They can work with them so extensively to help improve their game, especially coming into a match like this one tonight.
And on top of that, when Gankstars do finish up with VIPL, they can always come back and then end up participating in the Winter Championships. You never know, because this is such a strong roster. If they really want the roster with Fuji and Iraqi to really just take the entire Vainglory scene by storm, which they seem very capable of doing, considering, like you said before, they are undefeated in VIPL. Coming into the VGL against all these teams that haven't played against them in quite some time, do you think they're really going to leave a mark when they actually do come back to their respective region?
I mean, we saw what they were able to do in the winter season when they came back from the VIPL. They looked absolutely dominant, and they attributed a lot of that to the immense amount of practice time that they got while over in Korea. So when those players come back, like you mentioned, because of the format of VIS, they can plug those players right back in and use them for those final couple of matches, those doubleheaders we have coming up on June 8th and 9th. And so they'll have all these players available to them, most likely, they are still right in this. They're down. They're 2 games out of first place. They're only 1 game out of the playoffs right now. So they, even if they lose here today, they're still going to be right there. There's going to be only, I believe, 3 teams that are going to be 2 games ahead of them if they drop a game today, or a match today. So they'll still be so close to the playoffs, and if they bring back that roster that's over in the VIPL and start running with them, plug those players in and can win out the rest of the season, they're right back in that playoff conversation. So there's a lot still going for this team, and again, Team SoloMid, they need to be careful that they don't get too complacent with the roster that they're fielding today, because, even though they lost 2-0 last week, in their matchup against Team Phoenix, they still looked pretty strong in the first game of that. It looked like they fell apart a bit in the second game. Maybe they lost their confidence, but they gave Team Phoenix a pretty strong fight.
Definitely. So we're right before we go ahead and take it to game 1. We're just going to send it right back over to Dragonborn so he can just give us a brief word.
Yeah, the players are getting in queue. We're almost ready to start match 1 here of the Vainglory Invitational Series Week 7. Everyone's pretty much ready to go. We're just going to take a quick break. We'll be right back for game 1.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.
All right, here we go. Game number 1 of Week 7 is getting underway. The draft has begun. We do see Scarf being the ban by Team SoloMid, not wanting to allow that hyper late game hero to be allowed through, and it will be Adagio, the answer ban, and immediately, I don't think anyone's surprised by this, Fortress, first picked by Team SoloMid.
Yeah, that Fortress pickup is definitely the one that's the most common. He is the 2nd most played hero currently in VIS, and it looks like Glaive might be picked up here for Gankstars, who actually is currently the 1st most picked hero in VIS. Both of those heroes definitely 2 power picks for both of these respective teams. Glaive definitely having a lot of engage and a lot of damage, where Fortress just has a lot of utility and a lot of stickiness to him, so he could really just be able to chase onto people very easily. Looks like they want to hover over the Ardent here for Gankstars, which Ardent Glaive definitely going to be a strong power jungle duo because they can just engage on your face all the time whenever they really want to, and that does get locked in.
Yeah, not only that, but it also leaves the counter pick option open for Gankstars. They now see that it's going to be a Sky that they have to deal with and a Saw, so they can see, what do you want to run into that? You know what you're going to be dealing with. It's almost certainly going to be the Saw in the lane with Sky in the jungle, so you can make your final pick based on that, or you could not pick at all, as Punt by Ukrainian lets the timer tick all the way down to 0.
Interesting. So just going ahead and going back to talking about those 2 TSM picks. They pick Saw and they pick Sky. They're just going to go ahead and go through the draft again. It's going to be the same picks, same bands, so we're not going to be seeing anything drastically different here. But with Saw and Sky being picked up here for TSM, we've seen them pick the Sky quite often, but their Saw pick going into the Glaive and the Arden, and now the Celeste that has been locked in here for Gankstars, kind of an odd one out, because if he isn't careful, he's going to get engaged on with Afterburn if he throws down his B ability. What do you think is going to happen with this Saw as far as the game is concerned? Do you think they're going to have him in the jungle, or they're going to keep him in the lane where it's going to be a little bit more risky?
I feel like Saw has to be in the lane. His jungle is just, it really suffers because of his low movement speed, especially as he gets those spin-up stacks. So I feel in just the fact that it's also on Mixi is another pretty good sign that it's likely going to be in the lane. Could have some trouble, actually, because of the Celeste and Glaive, as you mentioned, having a lot of stuns available to just really put a damper on Saw's day. We do see it will in fact be Mixi going up into that lane, starting himself off with the Book of Eulogies. A great item for Saw because he does farm up those minions so well, but also takes a lot of harassment. As you can already see, LCR looking to get that damage down onto him and landing this Heliogenesis with a perfect accuracy thus far.
Yeah, Mixi, he can't really play too forward against the Celeste here, and especially when Mac Daddy ends up roaming up from the jungle, it's going to be really rough. But in the jungle, we actually do see Mac Daddy and Ponte Ukrainian picking up a kill onto Flash X. Now they're chasing down onto Kolomik, just going to be harassing him a little bit with some basic attacks, but they can't really do all that much. Instead, they're going to go ahead and eat a forward barrage right to the back. There's the flare coming out of Kolomik. He's just trying to harass them as much as possible to deter them from staying any longer. And if he keeps going, he might be able to get a kill. But Kolomik gets hit up with that afterburn. There's the forward barrage going down onto Mac Daddy, but he does end up walking away successfully with the Vanguard from Arden. And not too much that Gankstars can really do further here. Kolomik is still going to do his best to poke down Mac Daddy. There's another forward barrage. And one more basic attack from Kolomik does secure the kill. One kill going over to each side thus far in this game. However, very, very slight gold advantage in favor of Gankstars, just as far as the lane's concerned. But Ponte Ukrainian is waiting in the wings, sees TSM taking the back part of his jungle. Is he going to try and steal it with the blood for blood? No, he's not. He's just going to show himself, going to basically say, hey, I'm here, but I know I can't really do anything yet until Mac Daddy's here. But Flash X does get found, as well as Kolomik going to be forced to recall. So Gankstars kind of getting a little bit here, because now they can go ahead and go into TSM's jungle.
Well, they really can't, unfortunately, though, actually, because they're gonna, even if they were to try to, Mixi's there waiting, which Mixi can't really fight them because they would be able to kill him pretty easily. But with that recall, you can see they're already back in their own jungle, and Mixi had actually taken the forward healing camp for himself just to keep himself topped up in this lane. So there really wouldn't have been much that Gankstars could have gained by going into the Team SoloMid side of the jungle. So instead they try and see if they can make something happen in the lane, or at least Pump by Ukrainian just looking to maybe help Excelsior a bit, get some vision. However, this is going to leave Mac Daddy B hung out to dry somewhat, as now Team SoloMid, they're coming in for another invade, and you can see just how much damage Kolomik has with that triple crystal bit, easily able to steal away these jungle camps. And that gold lead, you had mentioned it was very, very slightly in favor of Gankstars. Well, it's now 1,000 plus in favor of Team SoloMid.
Yeah, and in the lane, looking at the difference in CS, it's actually gone pretty much to nothing at this point, and Gankstars do end up losing Excelsior in the lane. That kill going over to Mixi on that Saw, and they just very clean dive on their part. But going back to what I was mentioning before, TSM had Mixi very far behind in farm. He was down about 13 to 14 CS, and he's already been able to even that up. We do see Ponte Ukrainian rotating up from the jungle, but the turret is already going to be taken down. And Mac Daddy B is waiting in the wings as well, but Ponte Ukrainian is going to get taken down. That kill goes over to Flash X. So Mac Daddy B can't really go in there safely. He's just going to have to walk away at this point. And TSM going in for another jungle invade.
Yeah, Team SoloMid know exactly what they need to do this game. They picked an early game composition. Saw is one of those heroes that falls off pretty hard in the mid game, kind of comes back a bit in the late game, but early on is when he really shines. You just get a bunch of tier 1 and tier 2 items, and you can shove lanes so hard. You saw that first turret go down at 3.5 minutes. Another kill picked up by Team SoloMid. 4 kills in 4 minutes. But look again at those items. Kolomik still just sitting on 3 crystal bits. He has 1,500 gold to go spend when he does decide to go do so. Mixi grabbing the tier 2s, but he's now going to be in trouble thanks to that afterburn. That will be a kill answered by Gankstars. But look at the gold. They're down by almost 3,000 at 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's going to be really on Gankstars to try and get their slight advantage that they had early on back, but Ponte Ukrainian going to be eating a forward barrage to the back. Heliogenesis comes down from Celsior just to harass them a little bit. Not really going to be able to do all that much. No core collapse coming out either. So Gankstars just picking up basically a free kill there, not wanting to push their advantage, push the slight advantage they had by not having Mixi in the lane. But at this point, it's really going to be on TSM to just keep applying as much pressure as they have been, getting Call the Meek absolutely monstrous on his Sky.
Yeah, and one thing Team SoloMid has always been phenomenal at is these jungle rotations. You can see Cold Meek, that's the third consecutive time that he has stolen away that double back camp and the forward healing camp from Gankstars. And now he's getting more out of this as he uses the vision from the minion mine to secure one kill. Going to be looking on to Mac Daddy B as well. Don't think they quite have the damage to go turret diving yet. Flash X, however, always the aggressive little fortress there, and does pay for it. A little bit of over aggression coming out of Flash.
Yeah, really good kill there for Gankstars. TSM just getting a little bit over aggressive. I don't think he really anticipated the range of the turret damage, because that last turret shot just tore him apart. I don't really think he was expecting to either A, be in range of it, or B, for it to come out right when he was going forward just so slightly. So Gankstars should be starting to get a little bit more gold in their pocket now that they actually are getting the back part of their jungle. So yeah, I'd say that they can still definitely come back here. TSM have it snowballed to a point where they're absolutely unstoppable, only 5 kills in their favor. However, they do have the turret advantage. I'd say that's really the only huge major advantage aside from the gold lead that TSM really have right now.
Yeah, it's also a big jungle advantage. Cole the Meek, they need to be careful that he doesn't get too out of control, because he is really far ahead as opposed to anyone on the side of Gankstars. And again, Mixi will fall off a little bit going with this weapon power saw, but that time has not come as Pumped by Ukrainian is down. Excelsior not going to get hit by that Suri strike, thankfully for him, as he will be able to stay alive. But the pressure on this tier 2 turret is coming out, and they may look to get it, but Flash X is going to pay for it.
Yeah, Mixi doing his best to try and take down the turret. In the meantime, though, he does get caught and gets taken down by another turret shot. Mac Daddy B nearly going to get taken down by Call the Meek. There's the Solar Storm coming out of Celsior. Not going to be able to secure the kill onto Call the Meek. TSM lose 2 in that fight and don't even get the turret. But they did so much damage to it, they can just walk up and take it whenever they want.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about, though. Team SoloMid need to make sure they do not get complacent. That was a lot of a big fight that they didn't have to take. You know, they didn't have to go committing so hard to trying to take that turret. They could have just backed off, and if they had gotten out of turret range, they would have won a fight if Gankstars had chased. But they stay under the turret. Flash X goes down early to the turret, and Mixi and Cold Meek just not quite having enough damage to take it out. Pumped by Ukraine, you know, he is in a world of trouble, though.
Yeah, he's going to get taken down. That kill going over to Call the Meek with that forward barrage, as he got caught out there by Flash X and Call the Meek. And honestly, it just seems like TSM is kind of getting free kills every now and again, but hopefully they don't go in too aggressively on this turret yet again. Mixi getting taken out of half HP by the turret. Celsior getting nearly taken down completely by Call the Meek, and there it is, the Suri strike to secure the kill onto that Celeste. Flash X gonna get hit by the afterburn of Mac Daddy B. There's the Blood Song as well, but it's not gonna secure the kill as Mixi picks up yet another kill for himself. There's the death buff from Call the Meek, zoning out Paul the Ukrainian. Is he gonna get taken down as well? Doesn't look like it. He's gonna go ahead, walk towards the turret. They don't have the minions to go ahead and go for another safe dive. TSM gonna walk out of there with 2 kills under their belt and just take away the jungle as well.
Yeah, that is, again, just another team fight victory for Team SoloMid. They have now picked up 9 kills to their name and a 5, almost 6,000 gold lead in the first 9 minutes. They have 2 turrets down, and it just feels like they are in complete control of this game. Even when Gankstars gets a fight in their favor, it's almost like it's because Team SoloMid gives them the fight. It's not really Gankstars able to take fights. So now we see, again, just look at the forward barrage damage from Call the Meek onto Pumped by Ukrainian every single time. There's just not a whole lot that they can really do to defend against this.
Oh my god, and Celsior eating a forward barrage as well, nearly getting taken down under his own turret. Mac Daddy B gonna afterburn Cold Meek right into Celsior. He's going to dodge out the Heliogenesis, but here comes the Solar Storm. Nearly takes down Call the Meek, but a great fountain coming out of Flash X as Mac Daddy B is now still in the fight. Flash X trying to secure a kill for himself here. but he is going to maybe not pick it up. Here's Celsior. Is he going to secure it with the Heliogenesis? Yes, he does. Another forward brush comes out of Koldameek, but here comes Mixi and does secure the kill onto MacDaddy. 2 kills going over to Gankstars as they try and secure a kill onto Mixi, but Pont the Ukrainian getting taken down so low by Mixi. The Heliogenesis from Celsior doing quite a bit of damage alongside the minion mine that was aggroed to Mixi. He looks to maybe pick up a kill here onto Pont the Ukrainian. He does have his roadie run. Is he going to use it? No, he's just going to basic attack him to death. Mixi going to be trying to run away from Celsior here, but he gets hit by another Heliogenesis, and that's going to be 3 kills going over to Gankstars.
Yeah, that is a big turnaround that Gankstars needed. Again, over-aggression from Team SoloMid, staying too long, maybe getting too complacent. They do have a pretty sizable minion wave up in this lane, but they're not even going to get onto the turret because Gankstars is there to clean it up. And the amount of shutdown gold that just went over to Excelsior, look at it, he has 2,500 gold in his pocket thanks to those 2 shutdowns he picked up. That's an Eve of Harvest and a bunch of defense coming out as well, picking up that kinetic shield. So 2-item Celeste now. I'm going to be doing a lot more damage in these fights, but will it be enough to deal with the 2-item Saw and Sky that Team SoloMid has? Right now, Glaive is sitting on just a tension bow for completed tier 3 items. Oh, but this looks like we're going to have a fight.
Mixi going to be using his reflex block to get out of the gauntlet. There is the death from above from Koldameek, not going to be landing onto MacDaddy. The attack of the pack comes out from Flash X as well, but Pont the Ukrainian getting taken down so low. But Celsior gets taken down by Mixi with those basic attacks as he's stutter stepping beautifully to get out as much damage as possible. Now they're pushing into the turret. MacDaddy and Pont by Ukrainian can't push any further against it. TSM going to be able to take this turret and going to go probably back off, go ahead and take as much of the jungle as possible just so they could keep going for these fights. But like you were mentioning before, the 2-item Celeste is very strong, at least for a while. But at the end of the day, there's no fountain coming out from Pont by Ukrainian. He has a Warhorn instead. He's opting for giving his team a better opportunity to escape rather than healing them in the middle of the fight. So if they get caught by pretty much anything, if they get caught by death from above, or by Flash X in any way, they can't really heal from that damage. There's a Suri Strike coming out of Koldameek and a forward barrage securing yet another kill onto MacDaddy. Death from above goes down, zoning out Celsior and Pump by Ukrainian from getting to their base, but it's going to be Mixi picking up yet another kill onto Celsior, and that's going to also be Pump by Ukrainian getting taken down. That one going over to Flash X. That's going to be an ace going over to TSM as they're pushing into the Vein Crystal turrets. Should be the game, actually, if they can end it fast enough. There's another death from above on the turret. It's going to be able to take that down very quickly as Mixi takes down the other one at the same time. That's going to be the Vein Crystal getting taken fairly low. Is it going to get taken down is the question. Mixi getting caught and gets deleted there by MacDaddy with the Bloodsong and basic attacks, but Flash X is still on the Vein Crystal, should secure it, and that's going to be game 1 going over to TSM.
Yeah, that was a pretty decisive game, all things considered. Again, it did feel like the times when Gankstars won a fight was a lot of it was Team SoloMid losing the fight as opposed to the other way around. So a really nice job from Team SoloMid, barring those couple bouts of over-aggression. Koldameek 6-1 and 8 played incredibly well on this Sky. Just got a big lead and never looked back. The other thing I really have to, I understand he's filling in for his team here, but Pont by Ukrainian's build path on this Arden, not something that I agree with. He did it last week as well, going for the Warhorn into the Atlas Pauldron, but I really do feel like you need to get that Fountain of Renewal first, especially in a game like this. Like the Atlas Pauldron is most effective against Mixi, who's going to be standing in the back lines all the time. We saw multiple times in these fights where the fight is happening up front with Fortress, Sky, Celeste, Glaive, and Arden all being kind of grouped, and Mixi just off on the side putting in his damage. So the Atlas Pauldron isn't doing anything at that point. I get you want to slow down the attack speed of the Saw. You want to try and make Saw do less damage, but the Fountain of Renewal is just so useful.
Definitely. And one thing I also wanted to go ahead and point out was the fact that TSM went ahead and picked the Saw away from Gankstars, who Zelziar is known for being an amazing Saw player, so I feel like that definitely went into TSM's draft strategy, taking away the Saw and putting it in their favor. But at the same time, knowing that Pompa Ukrainian, with the builds that he went with last week, the same one like you mentioned, the same one he built today, it really wouldn't matter too much against the Saw. He built the Atlas Pauldron fairly late into the game, where it was really Call the Meek outputting the most damage at that point, not really Mixi. But at the same time, because of the fact that they were lacking that Fountain of Renewal, they had no way of healing throughout those fights. So having Saw and Sky to really just keep applying that damage pressure would just allow them to pressure Gankstars as much as possible, as you saw in the early game, going into their jungle constantly. Yeah, they ended up losing a couple of members towards the mid game because of some very aggressive plays, but TSM just knew that if they kept applying that pressure, despite the fact that they were losing one or two members every now and again, they would still be able to win it out at the end because they just had much better scaling damage.
Yeah, they got a big lead early on. Gankstars, they had a glimmer of hope when the shutdowns came through and Zelziar was able to get a couple of big power spikes, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough against this team SoloMid squad. So we will see if they can turn it around in game number 2, or if Team SoloMid are going to go ahead and take this one in a 2-0. But for now, we're going to go ahead and throw it over to Dragonborn as we get the team set up for game number 2.
And welcome back. Yes, that was a pretty decisive game there as we get ready for game 2 here. Just want to mention that we are doing the weekly band giveaway at the end of every single series, every single day of each week. 1.3k ice is yours to have. All you got to do is go to the band application and to the Vist League, to the Vist League band chat, and make sure you guys vote on who you think the winner is going to be for a chance to win 1.3k ice. So you guys don't want to forget to do that. Just for watching and voting, a random selector will be announced on stream, so you guys stick around. And in the chat, you can look on Twitch and Mob Crush. You'll see actually Closet Nerd or Team Phoenix putting out the announcements for how to enter into the ice giveaway. So we're just about ready to get started with game 2. All the players are getting in the queues. We are just going to take a quick break, though, so don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.
All right, we're back, everybody. Getting ready for the next game to start here. Tasty Bacon and Cyberel, what are some of the things each team needs to do to correct, specifically on Gankstars? How are they going to counter this TSM almost dynasty?
Well, I mean, a lot would have to change based on that first game. If they could go ahead and call in Arakizoro from Korea, that would be their best bet. But that's just unfortunately not an option for them here. They need to just play safe in the early game. You know that Team SoloMid is going to be aggressive early. You know they're going to look to invade. Their rotations are always on point. The communication and ability to kind of try and counter those rotations, not so much by going into the enemy jungle, but by maybe picking a team that can deal with aggressive invades, might be a thing that Gankstars need to look for. But we're going to find out, because we are already in the draft, and we've already got both teams with their bands locked in. It's Scarf and Saw this time being banned away. It's Team SoloMid that banned away the Scarf, not wanting to let Excelsior have his hands on that hero. But that does mean that it will be that Fortress first pick for Gankstars.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like we're going to have a repeat of last game's draft. It's going to be Fortress Goliath being picked up first for both sides. And It seems Blackfeather actually being hovered over here by TSM, and no, they actually switch it over to the Adagio. So buffed up Glaive composition is what I can see coming out here, and that's actually very scary. Glaive is just a devastating hero in the game, and once he goes in with the Afterburn and he's just in the fight for so long, if actually after he has his tension bow, he's just going to be outputting so much damage, so it forces Gankstars to pick something that has a little bit more mobility, either in the lane or in the jungle, to just avoid it. Instead, they go ahead and pick up the Crawl. They have a hero now that can really just constantly go in on fights, and when he has From Hell's Heart, he can just kind of do both, engaging with From Hell's Heart or using it to try and disengage. But what do you think about the Crawl pickup here?
I love Krull. I'm not sure about Krull in this particular situation, but I love Krull. It's one of my favorite heroes in the game, and now they're going to add a Blackfeather onto it as well, and it gets answered with a Finn, which means it will be a carry Adagio. This could be some pretty scary damage coming out of Mixi, assuming he's the one that will end up with that hero. Being able to use the buff onto either Glaive or Finn, or using the heal to get the Gift of Fire on Glaive or Finn, and then buffing either himself or Cole the Meek is just a scary, scary thought. Especially Cole the Meek on Glaive. It hasn't quite been the Cole the Glaive that we had seen way back in VIPL Season 1 or things like that, but he knows this hero inside and out and absolutely knows the limits of this hero, so it should be exciting to watch.
Definitely, and it raises the question, though, how well this Gankstars composition is going to be utilized against the composition coming out of TSM here. TSM do have a lot of damage towards the early and mid game, and looking at Mixi is going to be the main thing, because it depends on whether or not he's going to be able to survive in this lane, and which it seems like he should be able to. They don't really have a lot of engage on the side of Gankstars, except for having Comp by Ukrainian going in onto him, but he does have the range advantage over the Blackfeather. In the jungle, we do see both roamers and junglers just kind of waiting in the wings there. Koldemeek's going to try and steal away the bottom gold camp from Gankstars. Not going to actually get either of them, and he's going to be forced to pop his boots and walk away. So, going back to what I was saying, Gankstars really probably need to save From Hell's Heart to try and engage onto Mixi if he throws down Verse of Judgment.
Yeah, or, if you can try and get it onto Cole the Meek and take him out really early. Oh. But you can see right there, all pumped by Ukrainian taking a ton of damage. The Gift of Fire is burning, and it's enough for the first kill of the game, going over to Team SoloMid. Now Excelsior needs to be careful. You can see the pressure Mixi is putting onto Excelsior in this lane. A lot of times when we talk about Blackfeather, we mention how he's really strong into ranged hero matchups because he has the ability to sustain and usually out-sustain his opponent, but that's simply not the case against an Adagio.
Yeah, definitely, and you just kind of can't do anything in this scenario. Excelsior eating quite a bit of damage there just from Mixi alone, but here's Flash X getting engaged on by Mac Daddy and pumped by Ukrainian. They can't secure a kill onto him, though. Mac Daddy B going in with the Deadman's Rush, secures the kill with a Spectral Smite onto Flash X. So one kill going back over to Gankstars, and Mixi just trying to farm up as best as possible against the Blackfeather. If he gets to a point where he's just able to build one or two items before Blackfeather really hits his power spike as well, that's really going to put TSM with a heavy advantage, because they're already going to have the rage advantage on the Adagio, and on top of that, they had the engage advantage from Call the Meek and Flash X. So really is on TSM to go ahead and just utilize their advantages properly, as we do see Flash X getting caught there by Mac Daddy B and pumped by Ukrainian. He's getting taken fairly low. The Spectral Smite's going to be coming out. It's going to secure the kill onto Flash X. That's going to be yet another kill going over to Gankstars, and no return kill happening here for TSM on Excelsior, but they are going to go ahead and have Koldemeek stealing away the back part of the jungle from Gankstars.
Yeah, I love that Mac Daddy B is being aggressive on this Krull early. Krull's one of those heroes that suffers from the stigma of having a really weak early game, but the thing is, his early game is only weak if he's the one being engaged on. If Krull is the one that starts off the engagements or can find heroes out of position like we just saw, I mean, Flash X wasn't necessarily out of position, but Mac Daddy B was able to start that fight. He was sitting in the brush getting his heroic perk, and you combine the slow of Shadow's Empower Me with the naturally slow movement speed of Finn, and that's going to be an easy kill every time. But oh my goodness, Excelsior looking to turn that gank around. Actually got a lot of damage onto Cole the Meek thanks to the turret, but not quite enough to secure the kill. And now he's got to be careful of all this pressure. Pumped by Ukrainian. He's lucky that the afterburn was still on cooldown, or that may have been a kill for Team SoloMid.
Yeah, and TSM just going to go ahead and opt to steal away some of the jungle from Gankstars. Call him going to be finding yet another gold camp for himself there as well. Celsior on Pumped by Ukrainian going to be walking right into FlashX, who's just walking up through the lane for some reason. He's getting taken fairly low, and it looks like he might actually end up getting taken down. There's the on point from Celsior, securing yet another kill there for Gankstars. I don't really know why he decided to go that way. That was a little strange.
I think he may have just been a little bit too comfortable with how much health Finn has naturally, as maybe wasn't expecting for Pumped by Ukrainian to be there. I'm not really sure myself, but it does result in a third kill for Gankstars, and now they're looking for a fourth on Cole the Meek.
Oh, instead they actually look to get the kill onto Pumped by Ukrainian as Mixi takes him down alongside the turret. There's the Polite Company as well as the Quibble landing onto Mac Daddy, and that's going to be yet another kill going over to TSM. That one going on to Call the Meek. Celsior going to be the only one alive here for Gankstars. They got the kill onto Mixi, but it went down so quickly after that. Mixi did secure the kill onto Pumped by Ukrainian because of the turret, but what the heck is FlashX? Oh, he's just trying to stop Celsior from getting any early turret damage. But FlashX just going to be kind of messing around with Celsior here in the lane. Mixi is now here going to heal him up. The Breath of Fire is on Celsior. Is it going to take him down? One more basic attack from Mixi. He's burning. Is he going to get taken down? No, he manages to survive, but just barely. And he's going to go ahead and recall back to base.
Yeah, actually, it turns out to be a great play from FlashX. Stalling those minions, making sure none of them go down to the turret. It allows Mixi to maximize his farm, and it also almost netted them a kill because of that Gift of Fire and Agent of Wrath combo that Adagio can pull off, doing so much damage early on. Now Mixi, though, he's going to be in trouble. Really easy to gank on this Adagio because he doesn't have boots off of cooldown. So when a Krull, Blackfeather, and Fortress jump on a immobile hero, it's a pretty easy kill to pick up. As you can see, they're looking for more damage now onto Cull and Flash.
And Mac Daddy actually getting taken fairly low, but he is nearly going to pick up the kill onto Call the Meek, who has some stacks onto him. If he had thrown down the Spectral Smite, might have actually ended up securing the kill onto him. But another thing I wanted to go ahead and point out was the fact that From Hell's Heart was already used by Mac Daddy B to get onto the Adagio, so he doesn't have that available for another 40 seconds. And another fight being started up here by Gankstars. The Polite Company comes out from FlashX. That's going to be a kill going over to him exactly. And it's going to be Adagio actually securing the kill onto Celsior as well. Mac Daddy B going to be running away towards his jungle. Looks like Call the Meek going to be trying to find him. Walks through a scout trap though, so they do have an inkling that he's there. He's going to go ahead, take away the healing camp from Mac Daddy B, who's going to take away the gold camp with that Spectral Smite, healing himself up just enough. Doesn't really need the healing from those camps anyway. TSM going to be walking out of that pretty happy, getting 2 kills.
Yeah, they've now evened up the kills on the scoreboard, and this gold lead is in their favor as well by about 1,000. A much closer game at the 7-minute mark than game number 1, but oh my goodness, that's going to be a very dead Pumped by Ukrainian as he gets pulled into the gold mine pit. And that's one of those situations where when it happens to you, if you're the only one that gets pulled in like that, you just kind of put your phone down and just say, all right, well, I'm dead. No point in doing anything here.
Oh, phone or tablet. That was just tablet, yep. That was a fantastic force accord coming out of FlashX. It's up in such a short cooldown too that he can keep doing things like that. It's a 30-second cooldown right now, but about 45 seconds after he uses it, he can just keep throwing one out over and over and over and over. And because of the fact that he already has a Fountain of Renewal, he can just start getting super tanky at this point. So if he does force accord someone in, let's just say he force accords the entire team in, he should still be able to survive. He throws down a Quibble, gets a good stun off, or at the very least some extra damage or a slow. But Pumped by Ukrainian actually going to get caught there with the Polite Company. That From Hell's Heart goes down onto Call the Meek. In the lane, we do see Celsior getting taken down by Mixi, and another forced accord, saving Call the Meek from Mac Daddy B, who is nearly going to take him down with that Spectral Smite. He's going to go ahead and walk up through the lane. He doesn't have From Hell's Heart to get onto Mixi or Flash X. Gets caught by the Quibble, and Mixi does have the Breath of Fire onto him. It's going to be Mac Daddy B trying to take this fight, but he's going to get taken down. Does use the Spectral Smite to get a little bit of healing down from Mixi, but it does not secure the kill for him. He just gives over a kill to TSM basically for free. He walked in there for really no reason.
Yeah, I think he was hoping he'd be able to have enough damage, but it just wasn't quite there, or the weakness stacks. But now another fight is happening. Mixi is going to get dropped very low. Should be going down here, but Excelsior is also low. However, Excelsior does pick up the kill. Now Flash X, and when it's a Finn by himself, it's usually going to be a dead Finn. And that is exactly the case. So a 1-for-1 trade, but now Cole the Meek, he wants himself a piece of this. Needs to be careful, because he's walking into all three members, and he is by himself entirely. He uses that Afterburn to escape. Now, I was watching the fight in the lane while you were calling the fight in the jungle, and Excelsior tried to get over the lane wall with his Rose Offensive and didn't get over the wall, so he just Rose Offensive in place. That was why he went down so quickly. But now, oh my goodness, the damage from the Mixi Call the Meek combo. It secures 2 quick kills for Team SoloMid. And you can just see the immense amount of damage from this carry. Adagio has had the alternating current completed for quite some time and is now working on that broken myth. Just going to be putting out so much damage.
And Celsior gonna do his best to try and defend this turret, but it's gonna get taken down so quickly. Like you mentioned before, Mixi outputting a monstrous amount of damage alongside Cole the Meek, and that's gonna be the turret getting taken down. There's the stun from the Quibble coming out of Flash X. There's the Force Accord onto Mac Daddy B, but Celsior not gonna get taken down. Pumped by Ukrainian, nearly gonna get taken down as well. Instead, we do see Mac Daddy B getting taken down in favor of TSM. He did use From Hell's Heart to try and keep himself alive, but it was not enough to really do so. There is some healing going down onto Flash X as he does land another Quibble onto Pump by Ukrainian. There's the Afterburn and one more basic attack there from Mixi, securing another kill for TSM. That's 2 kills for 0 in their favor, as well as 2 turrets. So TSM going to be walking away from that very happy.
Yeah, a big advantage gained by Team SoloMid. 12-7 on kills, but the big one is the gold, as they have now accrued a 6,000 gold lead for themselves at 11 minutes, and it continues to grow with all of these jungle camps being stolen. Gankstars looking to try and set up a gank onto Mixi. He is going to be getting slowed and having those weakness stacks applied. The ult comes out, but it's nowhere near enough, and that's a nice kill picked up by Gankstars. A very smart play to go ahead and collapse around Mixi and Flash X. Now Flash is going to fall as well. Cole the Meek, the only member left for Team SoloMid, and Gankstars looks like they're trying to hunt him down. They know where he is, but they've actually given up the chase and said, you know what, let's go ahead and...
Hello? Alright, so in any case, we do see Cole the Meek just going to go ahead, take away some of the jungle of Gankstars, and clear out that wave as well, preventing Celsior from taking the turret. Celsior going to try his best to escape from Cole the Meek. He did already use his Afterbomb, but it's going to be up in 2 seconds. Here's Pumped by Ukrainian to go ahead and defend him. And it looks like they're just going to go ahead and give up the chase on the side of TSM. Mixi was there as well, but they don't really want to push for any fights that may result in them getting taken down at this point. It is 12 minutes into the game, so any potential fights here could very well be devastating for TSM. And likewise for Gankstars, since they do not have any more turrets aside from their Vein Crystal turrets. So they're going to have to be careful to make sure that TSM don't get a decent push. Call the Meek going to be walking right into all 3 members of Gankstars. There's the attack of the pack coming down, as well as the... Oh, never mind. The first adjustment did not come out, but it does secure a kill on the side of TSM on Pump by Ukrainian as Mixi secures that kill for himself. There's the on point from Celsior as he's trying to run away from Mixi and Call the Meek. Meanwhile, Flash X is chasing down Mac Daddy B. It's going to be a kill going over to Call the Meek onto Celsior, and Mac Daddy B doing a really good job trying to escape here from Flash X. Flash X does have his Forced Accord. Mac Daddy going to do his best to try and recall. Is he going to be able to recall successfully? No. There is the Polite Company stopping his recall. Flash X just trying to keep him busy as long as possible while Call the Meek and Mixi take the Vein Crystal turrets. That's going to be the second Vein Crystal turret being taken down as well. And it's Pumped by Ukrainian getting taken down after popping the fountain. Celsior going to try and defend his Vein Crystal. There's the Burst of Judgment stunning him down and taking him down to half HP. He's trying to secure a kill onto Mixi. He does manage to do it with the on point. Call the Meek is trying to return a kill here onto Celsior, but Celsior does have the stacks onto him and does secure yet another kill for himself. Gankstars pick up 2 in that fight and get the shutdown. They're just barely able to go ahead and defend their Vein Crystal. So really, it's on TSM to just they wanted to go for that very aggressive play, which it kind of paid off in their favor. They were able to take up 2 turrets. The Vein Crystal is now exposed for Gankstars, and since Gankstars didn't get the ace, they don't have the wave pushing in their favor at all. So they still haven't even taken that first tier turret. With that in mind, it's going to really be on Gankstars to try and start really pushing for these objectives, getting those turrets down, because yeah, they can keep getting as much as possible in the jungle, but at the end of the day, at this point, SoloMid can just go and end on his own because the Vein Crystal is exposed and taken down fairly low. But MacDaddyB getting taken down fairly low as he got caught in the jungle. Adagio going to secure the kill there for himself. That's 1 kill going over to TSM, while the other 2 members of Gankstars are going to go ahead and recall. And it seems like TSM are going to actually opt to go ahead and try ending the game at this point. SoloMid going to be leading the charge as FlashX and Mixi are following very soon after. And it seems like Tasty Bacon decided to get out of the pan and come back, and it's going to be the fight starting by Celsior. Gets caught up with the Polite Company. The stun comes down from FlashX as well as he chases down Mixi. Does secure the kill there for himself. The quibble goes out, but it does miss, pumped by Ukrainian. TSM are going to have to go ahead and recall from this fight. They can't push any further as they did lose the fight at the end of the day. They lost Mixi, and not only that, MacDaddyB has respawned. SoloMid does dodge out the from Hell's Heart, but he's going to get taken down. That kill going over to MacDaddyB. And that's going to be 13 kills to 16. Gankstars now pushing a little bit in their favor as the Kraken has now respawned. FlashX is the only one alive here for TSM. Mixi just now respawned, and SoloMid going to be respawning very shortly. Gankstars going to go ahead and start up the Kraken.
Yeah, my apologies on that. My internet did just completely cut out, and it might be doing so again here. So if my voice drops, that's why. But we did see a great fight from Gangstar, showing huge resilience. And, that's what we talked about before the game started.
Oh, definitely. And Gankstars really coming into their own this game and showing why they have been a team to just keep an eye out for. Despite the fact that, yeah, they don't have their main roster as they are playing in VIPL, they're still putting up a good fight against TSM. And now here is they're chasing down onto SoloMid. He does afterburn away, knocking MacDaddyB away from Pump by Ukrainian, who's taking quite a bit of damage there from Mixi. Can he take it down to 1/4 of his HP? Meanwhile, in the jungle, we do see FlashX getting taken down by Celsior, and Mixi going to be engaged on here by MacDaddyB. Gets taken down by Pump by Ukrainian, though. SoloMid going to be the only one alive here for TSM to try and stop the push alongside the Kraken. But all 3 members of Gankstars are still up, and we do see Celsior running through the lane to catch up with the rest of his team. And I don't think SoloMid is actually going to be able to do much to stop this push, as Gankstars doing a really good job pushing their advantages at this point, and taking advantage of the fact that TSM do not have their full team alive right now. From Hell's Heart does miss. SoloMid going to try and keep himself alive. There's the quibble stun. Is it going to be enough to keep him alive? No, he gets taken down by Celsior. Pump by Ukrainian gets a force accord to the back, and that's going to be Pump by Ukrainian getting taken down by Mixi. Celsior and MacDaddyB are still alive, and Mixi going to be taking down MacDaddyB. Maybe, yes, he does, with the gift of fire onto himself, does secure the kill, and they're going to be walking away from the Kraken for some reason, and instead, Mixi going to go ahead and just secure the kill onto the Kraken, buffing himself up a little bit. That's another 500 gold going into the pockets of TSM. And now that 2 members of Gankstars are down, they can't really force a fight onto Mixi or FlashX. But I have to say, Celsior has been playing phenomenally on this Blackfeather.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a rough early game, but has come back with a vengeance here. Now that he's gotten the items that he needs under his belt, has that Atlas Pauldron and the Aegis, a Serpent's Mask, and a Bone Saw. So is tanky enough to survive the initial huge burst of damage that comes out, and also has the utility to slow down the attack speed of SoloMid and Mixi. That's where everything comes out of. All of the damage on this Team SoloMid team is from basic attacks. Whether it's just the weapon power basic attacks from SoloMid or buffed basic attacks thanks to Mixi. It's all about the attack speed. So with these triple Atlas Pauldrons, they're able to keep the attack speed low for the entire fight. However, now that we're up around 18 minutes, this is going to get so tense. A single clean team fight victory, ends the game for either team. There's only one turret left in the entire map, and death timers are going to get longer and longer. We do see infusions, double infusions for every single member, and this is going to be the fight.
And it's going to be Mac Daddy B right into the front of this fight. Flash X going to be doing his best to take up as much damage as possible. Pumpa Ukrainian throwing it down the attack of the pack, but all three of those wolves get taken down. And Celsius are going to be the main focus here for Mixi, who's throwing down the Burst of Judgment, does secure a kill onto Pumpa Ukrainian. Celsius gets taken down by Cole the Meek. It's going to be Mac Daddy B trying to get something else out of this fight, but it's not going to be enough, as he does also get taken down by Mixi. That's all 3 kills going over to TSM. They get the ace, they get the shutdown as well, and that's going to be the game going over to TSM. Game 2. And Gankstars losing again 2-0 in VIS, unfortunately. But hopefully they come out of this game feeling fairly confident, because this game 2 was very close.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 2-0, but that simply doesn't tell the story, does not do Gankstars justice. They came so close to taking this game off of Team SoloMid. What really won that final fight was actually just an incredible team fight sense and shot call from Team SoloMid. As soon as Attack of the Pack came out, the entire team retreated. They kited themselves back towards the middle of the map and killed those wolves. Once the third wolf was down, that was when Team SoloMid re-engaged. They said, okay, you have that ultimate. It's incredibly powerful. Those bleed stacks just constantly getting added on. It's just extra damage that is really difficult to account for in the middle of a fight. So they go ahead, they take out those wolves. They essentially negate that ultimate and then turn and fight themselves. It was a really, really smart shot call. It's one that you don't actually see all that frequently, despite the fact that it is just the best thing to do in that situation. So they managed to take down those wolves and then re-engage, get the fight that they wanted, and able to secure the victory. But like you said, Gankstars, they fought incredibly well here in game number 2, 16-21. They had Team SoloMid down to their last turret. They survived a Kraken pushing in onto their Vein Crystal and were able to win fights and very, very nearly pushed us into a game 3.
Well, Gankstars didn't exactly have to deal with the Kraken. They were the ones pushing with the only Kraken that was taken this game. But Gankstars definitely looking a lot stronger in game 2, looking briefly at the items that were built. Pumpa Ukrainian going with a different build this time, actually opting to build the fountain first, which it showed a lot of difference because they were able to go ahead and heal up in fights. And whenever Mixi or Call the Meek went a little too far forward and trying to be super aggressive, you saw Celsius just going in with absolute confidence, knowing that he was going to get out of there alive. And Mac Daddy B just having so much tankiness alongside the healing that he gets out of the Spectral Smite on top of the Fountain, on top of the already inherent tankiness that Kroll has. It's just so much good team fighting that came out of Gankstars. Unfortunately, you mentioned before, that last team fight was just beautifully called by TSM, and they went ahead, picked up another victory for themselves, now tied for first in VIS.
Yeah, great job by Team SoloMid. Not quite tied for first.
Almost tied for first.
They're half a game behind the side of Nemesis. So if Nemesis loses their matchup later this week, actually tomorrow, against Liberation, then they'll be tied. But Nemesis are the ones that are in control of their own destiny, sitting at the top of the table currently. But going back to this game, you know, like you said, the builds, I like them a lot better from Opponent by Ukrainian. I really was very happy to see him get the Fountain of Renewal early on. And the one thing I, you know, almost have to question is the double weapon power with just a single bone saw picked up by Zelskiar, because of the fact that, you know, there was Cole the Meek just built himself a Atlas Pauldron and was extremely difficult to kill. You can see it on the scoreboard. Only 3 deaths for Cole the Meek. You know, that's, you know, partially because of just knowing the limits of Glaive to the extreme and being able to play that hero so well, but also because he was able to just build that defense, build that armor, and didn't have to worry about the damage from the side of Gankstars.